I have come across one of the most bizarre claims you could ever possibly imagine. That claim being Dick Cheney sits atop the pyramid of classified information on UFOs and is heavily involved in UFO secrecy. Say what? Dick Cheney was the Secretary of Defense from 1989 to 1993. He was also the Vice President from 2001 to 2009 under President George W. Bush. George W. Bush was a former CIA director. It's largely believed he is one of the few presidents that was fully read into classified UFO data, including the crash retrieval and back engineering program. Journalist Walter Kern made the aforementioned claim on ATW Live on Monday, September 9th, 2024. Let's play that clip where he makes this claim.
I talked to a high-level UFO whistleblower last year, and I said to him, who among all the people in society is keeping this secret? Who sits atop the pyramid of classified information about UFOs? And I thought he was going to say something strange, like the Grand Mason of the, Scottish Rite Lodge, or Prince Charles, or the Mossad. But he said, Dick Cheney.
Oh my goodness. Why does that not surprise me, though? Because of course he would be, right?
But
I think it's highly likely that Walter Kern is referencing the whistleblower David Grusch. And Grusch is the correct pronunciation. To give some context, in the following clip, Kern discusses the time he spent with David Grusch.
I spent 10 hours with him in Colorado, deep in conversation.
As a result of that interaction between him and David Grusch, he wrote an article in the County Highway magazine, which has no online presence. This magazine is entirely in print. Frankly, I wouldn't be surprised, though I'm not making an accusation, if Walter Kern was not supposed to share this information about Dick Cheney publicly. In a November 5th, 2023 interview on Blaze TV's 0 Hour show, which I already shared a clip from, he discussed his conversation with David Grusch and had this to say.
And so he told me this whole story, a lot of it off the record.
Let's assume for just a moment that it's true that Dick Cheney plays one of the biggest roles in UFO secrecy and knowledge. Well, according to journalist Ross Coulthart, those involved in the secrecy on this level may not be able to continue operating with the degree of anonymity they may enjoy. In an episode of The Good Trouble Show with Matt Ford on March 9th, 2024, journalist Ross Coulthart had the following to say regarding UFO secrecy gatekeepers getting exposed in the future.
That legacy program gatekeepers have been advising Kirkpatrick, and we were one of the first people to reveal this months back, that Kirkpatrick had people that were actually managing or had been managing the legacy UFO crash retrieval and back engineering program, that he had brought those people on board to advise them. I think we've kind of seen the result of that. And I understand earlier that you posted that you actually know the names of these people. Do you plan on revealing them?
Yes, actually, I forgot it was you that had that scoop, Matt. It was you. It was the advisory group to Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick that he was keeping very, very secret. But there were, again, people in Arrow who were quite alarmed to discover that their boss, the head of Arrow, was taking advice from a group of advisors who, frankly, were totally and utterly compromised. And I can't name them just yet. I've got plans about what I want to do. But what I can tell you is that these are people whom I know are directly involved as legacy program gatekeepers. One of them sat on the National Security Council with Dick Cheney in his White House years. It's very, very interesting to see the people who are now being revealed to me as the people involved in, frankly, this cover-up. And yes, they are going to be named. They are going to be revealed. There is going to be an unveiling of who these people are in my own good time.
One of the big takeaways in that clip with Ross Coulthart is that Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, while he was the head of Arrow, allegedly had a group of advisors that were totally and utterly compromised, directly involved as legacy program gatekeepers. And Ross said one of them sat on the National Security Council with Dick Cheney in his White House years. In the following clip, Matt Ford speaks explicitly about the Cheney family.
I would venture to guess a lot of people are going to hear about the Cheney family when it comes to this whole thing. That's all I'm going to say.
Why is that 6-month-old clip significant? Well, because it potentially corroborates what Walter Kern said about Dick Cheney. That is, and this is what Walter Kern said, allegedly, according to the whistleblower he spoke to, I think it's highly likely that was David Grusch, Dick Cheney stands atop the pyramid in terms of UFO knowledge and gatekeeping. In the following clip, Walter Kern conveys what David Grusch told him about what's going to happen in the future as it relates to UFO transparency.
There's a promise that we'll get to know more. I mean, there always is with UFOs. We are always a year away from the big reveal. But he assured me that that reveal is kind of got a schedule now, and in the next year will be accelerated in a way that the whole world will find astonishing.
So within the framework of the idea that more clarity is going to emerge about the UFO issue, the UFO cover-up, the fact that we're not alone, allegedly, I believe that we are not alone, but within this framework that we are going to see an acceleration in the effort to bring transparency to all 8 billion of us, I wrote the following essay because my last video covered so much of this, so it was fresh in my mind, and I thought it would be a valuable communication. I wrote this on September 10th. I'm going to share the version I put on my Patreon simply because I made a little tweak in that version versus the Twitter version. UFO Disclosure Forecast 2024. UFO Disclosure Forecast for the remainder of 2024. Lou Elizondo's book Imminent was published. James Fox's documentary The Program will drop within 2 months. Dan Farr's documentary with Lou Elizondo and others will likely drop this year. According to Matthew Pines, new people with credentials will be in both these documentaries, not the usual suspects as some put it. According to Matthew Pines, as I understand it, new credentialed people will come forward independent of the documentaries above as well. They will also back up David Grusch's allegations. The coup de grace that Matthew Pines spoke about, that is, an individual you would recognize if you watch the news, will come forward backing up David Grusch's allegations. Jay Stratton's book will be coming out as well, though I don't think it will come out in 2024. Tomorrow, an intelligence analyst on UAP is going public on the Good Trouble Show with Matt Ford. That will be interesting. Watch out for that. Hopefully, there will be surprises emerging that are not even on our radars. The US government will have a tough time continuing to lie and obfuscate about the UFO issue. They have a lot to contend with. Let's get the UAP Disclosure Act fully passed. No mercy. And then after I wrote that on Twitter, someone responded, "Didn't Corbell hint at a new video drop by the end of the year too?" I responded, "Yeah, that may be in Dan Farr's upcoming documentary, or at least that is my suspicion. But thank you for pointing that out. I should have included that." So Matt Ford's interview tomorrow is on September 11th, 5 p.m. Pacific. And I'll link to it below. And here is the thumbnail he created. Intelligence analyst goes public on UAP. Former UAP task force member. That should be interesting. That looks really promising. For all I know, this might be one of the people that Matthew Pines was referencing that's going to come forward. This is almost certainly not the coup de grace individual he referenced, in my opinion, because this person is probably someone that's not well known. But this person is a former UAP task force member. So this woman worked in the UAP task force as an intelligence analyst on UAP, as I understand it. And so it's going to be fascinating what she's going to say. Is what she's going to say going to align with the rhetoric of Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, or is she going to give the impression that UAP are something more exotic than the U.S. government is trying to sell us? I don't know. I'm inclined to think it's likely the latter, but stay tuned for that. This is my third video in a row, and that's not really typical for my channel. I don't anticipate doing a video every day, partly because I like to spend multiple days on videos sometimes to polish them up and make them more comprehensive. But sometimes I will do videos in succession, and thank God my sleep and concentration has improved a lot, so that's why I've been able to do this. So I'm very grateful for that. Those of you who sent me your prayers and your positive vibes and thoughts, I really appreciate it. Those of you didn't, doesn't matter. You watch my videos, you support me by watching my videos, I really appreciate it. We are in such exciting times. And I noticed some of the comments in my video. Some of the comments is like, oh, we're being strung along. I can't stand it anymore. When is this ever going to end? When are we going to get off the merry-go-round and finally have the U.S. government be transparent on this topic, or get some smoking gun evidence from other places? And I get it. I understand. And I don't think your frustration is out of place. The only thing I would tell you is that we are in profoundly historical times. And though we have not yet reached the promised land, that doesn't mean that the journey we're on is not utterly profound. It doesn't mean that the journey we are currently on is not going to be in the history books for potentially centuries, if not thousands of years. Because people are going to read through what took place up until the point when the smoking gun evidence emerged. That's going to be very important history. And there are going to be so many generations that come after us, just as there's so many generations that have come before us that didn't have the privilege to experience this. And I think it's a blessing. I do. I think it's a profound blessing. The impact UFO disclosure or confirmation, whatever terminology you want to use, is going to have on our institutions, our civilization, every aspect of humanity is going to be quite fascinating. And it's not going to be subtle. And I think we're all going to grow from it in a positive way. I genuinely do. We have a lot to look forward to, in my opinion. Please do not forget to subscribe. You've seen how much I've uploaded. I'm going to continue to do so. If this concentration and sleep sustains, I'm going to be optimistic it will sustain. Don't forget to subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, you can check out my merch shop where I sell t-shirts. You can become a patron. You can become a YouTube member. You give me a one-time donation. All those potentialities can be accessed in the description box below, or you can just slap a like and what's a like? You can slap a like on this bad boy, and I'll appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Special thanks to all patrons, YouTube members, those that have bought merch, those that have given me a one-time donation. I couldn't do without you. Thank you so much. See you in the next episode.